I wanted to make a video about anger because this is something that I get asked about a lot. And I've had community members say to me, "Oh, I can't picture you angry," or "I'm sure you never get angry." Both are incorrect. However, I have worked with the emotion of energy pretty actively for about the last 5 or 6 years, and I will pass along a little bit that I have learned and share what I've learned from some of the teachers that I follow. I used to think that anger was imprisonment for me. I grew up in somewhat of an angry household. I have a memory of my father throwing a chair when I was younger, and yelling happening, and not just within my immediate family, but in my broader family as well. And I never learned how to work with anger, how to transform that energy, and how to create a productive response when it comes to something that I'm not satisfied with. Now, Ram Dass talks about anger as a response that comes through when we want the world to be different than it is. And I can say for myself, yes, that's accurate. when something comes up, if it's a conflict and somebody responds in a way that I'm not expecting and it's against what my wishes are, anger comes through. If I see something happening in the world that is different than how I want the world to be, then anger comes through. Eckhart Tolle also talks about anger as just another emotion to witness. And I first started working with anger when I listened to Eckhart Tolle's teaching. So if that is an avenue that you want to take, I highly recommend you searching Eckhart Tolle anger and listening to his wonderful words that he has to share. So I developed his practice at first, which was to witness the anger as energy coming through, not identifying it, not saying I am angry, but witnessing, oh, there is anger coming through. And that is the time, and this took a little bit of practice because anger can be very erupting. It can take us into this delusion where we are not in control. And so in working with anger, practicing beforehand, working with our emotions can set us up to be able to respond differently when anger arises, and not this whole seeing red, uncontrollable, bull in a china shop kind of anger. So when anger comes through, beginning to witness it as an emotion, as energy, and acknowledge, I feel anger. And usually it's a little bit more strong. I feel anger. And I watch the emotion. I feel its presence in my body. A lot of times it happens in my solar plexus. It may happen in my heart. It may happen in my stomach. So I look for where the anger is presenting itself in my body. Oh, there it is. If need be, if it's rage coming through, I will clench my fists. I have to be careful for myself because I have been prone to physical self-harm. So in the state of anger, I still have to use my higher mind to remember that is not a productive way to work with anger. And so I clench my fists. If I need to, I'll beat the shit out of a pillow, to kind of get that energy exerted first. And then go into the witnessing state. And then in the witnessing state, the peace can begin to come through. And now this is something else that takes practice. It's difficult to feel what's underneath the anger if we aren't already in the process of working with deep emotions. And so if you are have some unresolved grief, in your life, unresolved fear that you haven't faced, it can be more difficult to go into this next phase of it if all of that hasn't been resolved, or at least you're not in the process of resolving some deep trauma. And so when the anger comes through, let it be there, and then wait for it to start to calm down. This could take a while. Use it as a meditation. Okay, so when you are feeling the anger, I feel the anger, I feel it in my body, I feel it in my stomach, and start to witness it, start to witness it. And then from there, over some time, you will start to feel it subside. And then allow whatever emotion is underneath the anger to come through. An example I share with students is months after my miscarriage, I noticed I was having these angry bursts, and I felt one coming, and I knew I didn't want to take it out on my family. And so I went into my room and shut the door, and I pounded on my pillow, and I clenched my fists and used some vocalizing. And then all of a sudden I started to cry, and I realized in that moment how heavy this grief was that I was carrying for the loss of my child. And so I let myself cry and let the emotion come through and really feel as much that was accessible for me in that moment. And that was really powerful, and probably the first time I could see what was possible when it comes to anger, that anger has been there as a way to protect me from feeling some feelings I wasn't quite ready to feel yet at that moment. It's kind of like this reserve that, okay, we're going to express anger because that's kind of an easy way to package all of these feelings. And then when we're ready, if we take the time to, we can begin to open that package and feel something that's going on that's a lot heavier and a lot deeper underneath all of that. So that has been really transformative in my own practice. And the more that I practice it, the more routine it becomes, and the more I'm able to recognize, oh, here comes anger. I need to step aside and I need to work through some deep feelings of grief or fear or whatever it is that is coming up. Otherwise, the anger is just going to build on itself, and it can be more difficult. The more angry we allow ourselves to be over time, probably the less time we are spending in the deep parts of our heart that make us feel that we feel grief within or fear within. So it can be more difficult to backtrack and to go into those feelings. But the more you practice, the easier it's going to be to start to get into there. And the more you feel, the more freer you will become. And so the anger is no longer the first emotion that comes through. And so, in the past where I would get angry about certain things, I either have this realization that, oh, there's something that I'm not understanding about this situation. And so until I have all of the information, that's when I'll be able to actually feel what I feel about it, rather than being in the space and making assumptions about the world or another person or myself or whatever it may be. And so it gives us opportunity to be more connected with all of our emotions, instead of bypassing and simply jumping right to anger. And so it has released a lot of conflict with myself and others, and with myself. I have developed a stronger understanding, and it's brought a lot of peace and harmony into my life, and it's helped me build a lot of relationships where typically I would jump to conclusions and become angry with somebody because of how I think they responded against me, but instead I didn't have all of the information. And once I learned that information, then I have an understanding, and the anger is not necessary, right? There's no apology needed if I don't act out in anger and harm somebody in the process of that, maybe say something that I would regret later. So I hope this is helpful. Let me know in the comments how you've worked with anger, or any questions that you have with anger that you would want me to respond. I can do another video if necessary. And if there's any other videos that you would want us to post here on this page, If there's anything that you're running up against that you would like some guidance from any of our facilitators, let me know, and we'd be happy to support you in this way. Namaste.